Last year, an owner on a major boating forum posted photos of a 2021 center console with under 60 hours on the engines. The deck was soft in 3 places. The bilge had debris in it that had clearly been there since the day it left the factory. Wire ties, screw fragments, and a length of cut wiring sat directly under the bilge pump float switch. He had paid $40,000 for it 18 months earlier. The dealer told him this was normal. It was not normal. It was the documented output of a production system that was never designed to build boats at the speed it was forced to run. Here is what actually happened. In 2020, new powerboat retail sales hit a 13-year high in the United States. By early 2021, the National Marine Manufacturers Association reported that boat builders were operating at 13% above normal production levels just to restock inventory, with an average order backlog of up to 6 months. That is not a sign of a healthy production environment. That is a supply chain under pressure, a workforce being asked to move faster than it was trained to move, and a quality control system stretched thinner than it was designed to handle. A lack of trained shop floor personnel was identified by industry analysts as one of the primary constraints on production during this period. Experienced workers who left during the shutdown were replaced by people who had never laminated a hull, never routed a wiring harness through a console, and never sealed a drain penetration for saltwater use. Those boats were certified, shipped, and delivered. They are on the used market right now, and the problems are only now becoming visible. The first thing that was compromised when production pressure peaked was the laminate schedule. A fiberglass hull gains its structural integrity from the number of layers applied, the type of glass used, and the precise resin-to-glass ratio achieved at each layer. In a hand lamination process, that ratio is controlled by the operator in real time. When operators are undertrained or moving too fast, dry spots and voids appear inside the laminate. They are invisible at delivery and invisible at a standard dealer inspection. Marine surveyor David Pascoe, whose published engineering documentation covers hull structural failures across decades of professional survey work, identified inconsistent resin-to-glass ratios from undertrained lamination crews as one of the primary causes of premature structural degradation in production fiberglass hulls. A hull with dry spots in the laminate does not announce itself. It flexes slightly more than it should under load, works at its joints over seasons of use, and allows water into places water was never supposed to reach. The second thing that was compromised was drain routing. This is the failure that the owner in the opening story was dealing with, and it is documented across multiple production brands from this era. Drain lines from fish boxes and live wells need to terminate outside the hull, discharging overboard. When they are routed incorrectly, or when a fitting is installed backwards or left improperly sealed, every gallon flushed through that compartment goes directly into the bilge instead. That water sits against the foam, against the wood cord components in boats that still use them, and against every structural member it can reach. It does not drain because it was never supposed to be there. A boat with a misdirected fish box drain accumulates chronic water exposure in the bilge from the day it is first used. The owner typically does not discover it until soft spots appear in the deck, or a survey flags elevated moisture across the entire stringer system. If you've made it this far, do me a favor and hit subscribe. The third thing that was compromised was wiring. Marine electrical systems are supposed to follow standards that require tinned conductors, sealed connection points, and harnesses that are supported and routed at regular intervals. At the production rates these plants were running, multiple owners reported receiving boats where wiring runs were zip-tied to whatever structural member was nearby, rather than properly chased and routed. One boating forum member who bought a new center console during this period said they found unsealed connectors at the bilge pump float switch terminals when the boat was delivered. That specific failure mode means the pump that is supposed to save the boat from flooding silently corrodes at its control circuit and fails without any visible warning. The boat fills. The owner finds out at the ramp or at the dock. The fourth compromise was the one that is most difficult to see and most expensive to fix once found. Construction debris left inside the hull at the factory. This is not a rare occurrence confined to a single builder. It is documented across multiple brands from this production era, reported consistently enough that marine surveyors began treating bilge debris inspection as a standard checklist item during pre-purchase surveys because of what was being found in boats from this period. Examples include wire ties, cut lengths of wiring, stray hardware, and plastic packaging fragments. These do not belong in a bilge. Their presence tells you one thing: nobody looked before the boat left the facility. And if nobody looked in the bilge, nobody confirmed the drain lines were routed correctly, nobody verified the laminate was cured, and nobody tested every electrical connection under load. The inspection that was supposed to catch these things simply did not happen. None of this is speculation. A widely read boating forum thread from 2025, asking whether boat quality had recovered post-pandemic, produced a response from a poster with direct factory experience. They said long-serving employees who left during the shutdown never came back, that the workforce that replaced them had little to no formal training, and that quality assurance processes degraded significantly during the surge. The same poster said this came from people who work inside boat builders, and that profit over quality was the driving force. That is the same pattern visible in owner community records, the survey findings, and the construction debris sitting in the bilges of 2020 and 2021 boats currently on the used market. Here's the reality: most of these hulls are structurally sound. The issue is not that the boats are falling apart. The issue is that specific details such as the drain routing, the laminate quality, the wiring connections, and the bilge cleanliness were executed by untrained workers moving faster than a quality control system could reliably catch. Those details are invisible at a casual walk around. They are invisible in the listing photos. They show up in a moisture meter, in a bilge inspection, in an electrical function test, and in a compression test on the engines. The boats that are rotting from the inside right now are not rotting because salt water found a defect in the hull. They are rotting because a drain line was routed into the bilge instead of overboard, and the water has been sitting there since year one. That is not a structural failure. It is an installation failure that was never caught because the inspection that should have caught it was never properly done. Know what you are looking at before you make an offer. Documentation to identify these boats is available. Buyers who use it will be fine. The ones who do not are inheriting exactly what the production surge left behind.